Welcome to Wall is Anwire. Today, we're talking about Education Minister Fadhlina Sidek's response to the tragic incident at Bandar Utama National Secondary School. That incident, the fatal stabbing, it just sent shockwaves, didn't it? Especially regarding school safety.
It really did. And the political response was, well, quite immediate. What we saw from Minister Fadhlina and Deputy Minister Wong was accountability.
Extreme accountability, it felt like.
Yes, they didn't hesitate. No waiting for reports, no finger pointing. They came out publicly and said they'd assume full responsibility for the accident.
Which is rare. In politics, often the first instinct is to deflect.
Exactly. So for them to own it like that right from the start, it really sets a precedent, doesn't it, for how ministers handle crises.
And it wasn't just taking blame. There was that huge promise she made, quoting her directly, "We will do better." That's not just words for the family involved. That sounds like a promise to, well, every parent sending their kids to school in Malaysia, a promise that the Ministry of Education is going to change things.
It certainly puts the ministry and everyone working within it on notice. That phrase, "we will do better," carries enormous weight. But, before we dig into the policy side of things,
Yeah.
we really should touch on the emotional aspect of her statement. It felt quite strategic, anchoring everything else.
I thought that was maybe the most striking part. It wasn't just bureaucratic language. Fadhlina actually expressed extreme sorrow. She talked about a well-loved student. It felt personal.
It did. She connected with the community's grief, it seemed.
Yeah.
And went beyond just, professional regret.
Talking about seeing the teachers,
Yeah.
heartbroken, crying. She said it broke her heart. That kind of vulnerability, you just don't often hear it from officials.
No, you don't. And sharing that level of personal feeling, it helps build a bridge, perhaps. It suggests a genuine shared sadness, not just ticking a box.
And that line, "Only heaven knows this sadness." Wow, that just cuts through all the usual political speak, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. And that emotional honesty, that foundation, it's almost necessary to justify the scale of the commitment they're making, politically and structurally.
Right.
So when she then urged teachers to be resilient, to stay strong, it wasn't just telling them to cope. It was framed as part of this promise. The Ministry of Education will make sure this tragedy will not be in vain.
So the message is, this awful event, this pain, it has to lead to something better. It's the driver for real reform.
Precisely. Even if spirits are crushed, she said they have to pick up the pieces, find strength again, is positioning this as a catalyst for transformation, not just patching things
And
up.
not just damage control.
Exactly. If systemic change doesn't follow this, then that initial promise, that taking of responsibility, it starts to look hollow very quickly.
Okay, so that brings us to the commitments, the policy stuff. Because we will do better sounds good, but how? What specific actions did they actually announce?
Right, this is where we need to look at what the Ministry of Education actually put forward. The main goal stated is ensuring the school safety system nationwide is further improved.
Further improved. That implies they know it wasn't good enough before, doesn't it?
It's a tacit admission, yes, that there were gaps in the existing safety measures.
But the cynic in me here is revisiting safety standards and thinks, okay, are they just going to create more paperwork, push the responsibility down to the schools without giving them the actual resources to do anything?
That's always the risk, isn't it? Implementation, funding, especially with an organization as large as the Ministry of Education. They did announce something specific, though, promoting campus safety and happiness reform.
Safety and happiness reform. Interesting phrase. What does that actually mean in practice?
Well, it suggests a broader approach than just, say, metal detectors. It sounds like they're trying to balance physical security with the students' overall well-being.
Which can sometimes be conflicting goals, right?
They can be. So when they talk safety, are we looking at more CCTV, better security guard training, controlled access points? Or is it more about the psychosocial side, bullying prevention, mental health support?
Given what happened, a student attacking another student, it feels like it has to include that psychosocial element, doesn't it? You can't just lock the gates and think the problem's solved.
The indications are that it's meant to be both. They are revisiting all safety standards, which implies physical checks, security audits across all their institutions.
Okay.
But adding that happiness part strongly suggests a focus on improving counseling services, maybe mandatory psychological support programs, better training for teachers to spot warning signs early.
Right, and that immediately brings up the issue of cost. You start talking about nationwide mental health support in schools, boosting counselor numbers. That needs serious money. Millions, potentially tens of millions of ringgit, surely.
Absolutely. This isn't a cheap promise to fulfill. If they're serious about it, it requires significant budget reallocation. It's a major undertaking economically, politically, culturally.
So the pressure's on them now to show this wasn't just talk.
Immense pressure. They've committed to continuously elevating school safety. This whole audit and reform process is their chance to demonstrate that the accountability pledge was genuine. It's high-stakes governance, really.
Let's shift slightly to the community aspect, because schools aren't islands. The minister seemed very aware of the role of parents and teachers here.
Definitely. She was quick to thank them, acknowledging that their support is vital, both for getting through the immediate aftermath and for making any long-term reforms work.
She encouraged teachers to stand firm in their educational mission, even while dealing with their own grief. That's asking a lot.
It is a huge emotional burden on educators who are often on the front lines.
And the parents, thanking them for trust and encouragement. After something like this happens, rebuilding trust must be incredibly challenging.
It is ambitious asking for trust so soon, but it signals that the ministry sees recovery and reform as a partnership. They need the community, especially parents, to buy into whatever changes are coming. Otherwise, they'll face resistance or suspicion.
And the Parent-Teacher Association, the PTA, got a specific mention. Their role seems quite significant here, maybe more so than in some other places.
Oh, absolutely. The PTA often plays a very active role, well beyond just fundraising. In situations like this, they can become crucial first responders for the community's well-being.
Right.
The minister specifically thanked the PTA chairman and the team for stepping in immediately with psychological and social assistance, helping people navigate that incredibly difficult initial period.
Wow, imagine being on the local PTA and suddenly needing to coordinate that kind of support. That's immense pressure on volunteers, essentially.
It really is. They become the immediate bridge between the families, the school, and sometimes the authorities. The ministry clearly relies on that local structure, that grassroots support, to handle the immediate emotional fallout.
So, stepping back, Minister Fadhlina taking full responsibility like that, it feels like a significant moment, politically speaking. It wasn't just framed as a terrible crime, but as a systemic issue the ministry had to answer for.
Yes, a systemic acknowledgement of a failure, at least implicitly. And that promise, we will do better, sets a very high bar for her and for the entire Ministry of Education.
The pressure now must be intense to actually deliver tangible, properly funded changes that improve safety and well-being in schools across the country. This promise could really define her legacy, couldn't it?
It certainly could. And I suppose the big question left hanging, maybe for you listening, is whether this kind of high-stakes political move, taking full responsibility up front, will genuinely lead to the sustained funding and deep reforms needed, or, will the sheer complexity of overhauling safety nationwide mean that promise eventually gets watered down by practical challenges?
Remember to like and subscribe for more videos like this.